When we started the research for what we wanted to do with Release 12, one of the aspects of our research which came across quite boldly to us was the fact that customer loyalty is one of the biggest things that banks are striving for today. Given the fact that customers, when they start looking at taking on new financial products, research has indicated that over 40% of them even today don't go back to the same bank with which they have been banking forever. This number is projected to increase to about 70% in the next 3-4 years. Now, in this kind of a complex environment, how do you make sure that the customer keeps coming back to you? We looked at this and decided that there are two aspects which come into play. One is the self-service. The second is, how do you make sure that your bankers keep coming back and keeping in touch with the customer on a regular basis? The first aspect was, how do you look at the way customers are interacting with your bank? How are they coming in? Which channels are they using? How can you make sure these channels get a little more sticky? How can you make sure that the customer gets surrounded by you and you're present when the customer needs you at a call and beckon? There are a lot of exciting features which we have brought about in the product which take this aspect into account. The second side of it, which I think is very relevant and makes a lot of difference to banks today, is that you want to make sure that you're using the channel not just for service. You want to try and sell more and more via these channels. So first and foremost, you need to make sure that you're advertising the right things, you're making the right kind of offers. The second part of it is also about how do you make sure that when your employees are interacting with the customer, they're interacting with the right amount of information. So when we looked at this, we looked at the employees of the bank and looked at how can we make sure they do things differently. Why can't we tell the employees that there is a change in the way the customer is behaving with you? So for example, if the term deposit is coming to a closure fairly fast, why can't we use that as an opportunity to go and upsell? How can we make sure that our employees are selling more and more to the customer at the right trigger points? So we've brought together a lot of trigger points into the software which helps employees sell more to the customer every time they talk to them. And there's one other thing which keeps on coming in whenever you're starting to look at a customer. A customer walks into a branch and is talking to a branch teller. He walks into an IVRS, or rather calls an IVRS, and he's talking to the IVRS agent. At one point of time does the customer actually get a feeling that he's talking to a bank? So one of the things that we want to look at is how do we make sure that the customer, when he's talking to the bank, feels that he's talking to the bank and not just an IVRS agent, not just a branch teller, not just a loans officer, and get a feeling that each of them is diverse, each of them is different. One of the things that we have done in the software to make this difference is bring together a whole new interactions framework, which makes sure that everybody in the bank knows everything about the customer and who has interacted with whom in this. If we look at the combination of the self-service on the channels, we look at the way we have brought together more sales opportunities for customers to themselves go about looking at the various offers from the bank, looking at how the bank employees are reacting to events which happen in the customer's life cycle. And if you put all of these together in a very coherent manner, which we have done in Release 12, we are changing the way the bank and the customer are behaving with each other. We are trying to make the bank more sticky for the customer, making sure that there are the right offers available to them on the web where they can exercise their choice, when those choices are driven by some intelligence pre-built at the back end. Also pushing for having employees understand key milestones which are happening with the customer and utilizing those opportunities to sell more. That put together with a very neat way in which we capture interactions across the enterprise brings together for us in FLEXCUBE Release 12 a real valuable framework which banks can leverage to enhance their customer service, to enhance their customer experience, drive for enhanced customer satisfaction, and sell more, and thus improve the value which customers attach to them as a brand. We are really excited about Release 12, and we believe that it offers tremendous value to our customers.